The unprecedented devastation of the Second World War left the world in physical, economical, and psychological distress. October the 24th, 1945. The United Nations was established to help stabilize international relations, give peace a more secure foundation, create and maintain international order, and prevent another such conflict from happening. The United States was very much a leader at the forefront of this genesis. In fact, President Franklin D. Roosevelt coined the name United Nations. New York was chosen as the host city. Prominent U.S. citizens, including First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, formed the precursor of the United Nations Association of New York. They traveled across the U.S. to spread the core concept of the United Nations and garner support for this idea of a United Nations. The UN addresses problems without passports, activities that require a global approach. The UN is much more than just a peacekeeper and forum for conflict resolution. The UN and its family of agencies are engaged in a vast array of work that touches every aspect of many lives around the world. The UN is the largest multilateral source of grant development assistance. More than 30 million refugees fleeing war, famine, or persecution have received aid from the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. UN agencies have worked to make safe drinking water available to 1.3 billion people in rural areas during the last decade. Through various health and nutrition measures undertaken by UN agencies, child mortality rates in developing countries have been halved since 1960. A broad grassroots membership organization, UNA-NYC engages in extensive outreach and advocacy to educate the public about the United Nations and its agencies. We run a wide variety of programs on the UN and international affairs, and seek constructive U.S. leadership at the UN. We educate students and interested individuals at many levels, including fully funded scholarships for UN fieldwork. UNA-NYC is independent of the UN system and receives no funding from it. At times, we are also critical of the UN and advocate UN reform. Working with UNHCR, we dug wells in Afghanistan. With UNESCO, we improved a school building in Namibia. Today, the role of the UN is even more vital than it was in 1945. Together with you, UNA-NYC is dedicated to supporting this essential work of the United Nations.